opinions and experiences shared in this podcast are just that, our personal opinions and experiences, and may not reflect official standards of practice. This podcast does not take the place of professional therapy. If you are struggling with mental health, please reach out to a provider near you. The subjects discussed in this podcast may include trauma, abuse, alcohol and drug abuse, anxiety, depression, suicide, and other subjects that may cause emotional reactions. We may also use language not suitable for young ears. The purpose of this podcast is to have frank discussions about mental health in order to show people it's okay to think differently, give people power to change their own lives, and break down barriers between mental health professionals and the rest of the world.
All right. So welcome to the Good to Hear podcast. We're going to be talking about our experiences with mental health stuff and how we handle it. I'm your host, Melissa. I'm 27 and I'm a mental health therapist. And my guest today is Casey.
Hi, I'm Casey. I am 26 and I am in real estate. I sell apartments and I am also in a band. I'm newly joined a band. Mm-hmm. I sing and I love dogs, and that's me, I guess.
Well, and you volunteer.
I volunteer. Yeah, there's some things about me. So
yeah, you do a lot.
It's so hard when like people ask for like, all right, give me fun facts. I'm like, oh, you get like nervous. You're like, oh.
Yeah. I hate talking about myself.
No, I'm so awkward. I'm like, I hate talking. That's part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is because it makes me kind of uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Being in a band also makes me uncomfortable a little bit. It's like definitely pushes me like out of my comfort zone a little bit, but I think it's good to do that for growth and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
So
for sure.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. All right. So we got kind of a heavy subject to talk about today.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So you can kind of dive right into
the story,
however you want to start it.
All right. So my fiance, I'm just going to go right out and boldly say it. My fiance was robbed and killed a year ago, almost a year ago. It'll be the very end of November. It'll have made a year. It was really hard because I had it all figured out. Mm-hmm. I had a really, really amazing guy that just loved me and loved people, and that's something that like I really admire in other people's, how much they, love on other people, and humanitarian. That's something that I admire in other people, and he definitely was that. And he was just such a good person. Like I've never felt more loved in my life, and he was just a remarkable person. And it was hard because we had dinner plans, and we were talking just hours before. Mm-hmm. I was at work that day, and I came home and he wasn't there, and I was, obviously like worried, but then I was like, oh, maybe he's like at the gym, or like, maybe he's, working late, or like, like whatever. And like his phone at the time, like it was like crapping out. Like it was like, he needed a new phone. Mm-hmm. And so I was thinking, like, his phone probably died, and like, that's why he's not answering, so I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, Casey, you need to chill out, because like, I always like freak out, like, and I had
not to catastrophize. Yeah.
Cause I had freaked out before, and I was like, oh, but he was like asleep on the couch, so I was like, yeah. But so like when the time came where we should have been at dinner, I was like, okay. So I'm like calling like his coworker, and I'm like, just like blowing him up, like, and his mom calls, and she's like, oh, like, she has me on FaceTime, and she's like, do you think Sean would like this for Christmas? Like, she was Christmas shopping, and she just immediately, like, as soon as like I started like giving like my answer or whatever, she was like, are you okay? Like, are you cool? And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not okay.
His mom's a therapist, right?
No, his mom is in baking. She's
okay.
She works for the SunTrust, but but she was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's up?" Because I'm very like, whatever, like happy person, like, oh, and but I was like, I guess she could hear it in my voice, and she's like, "What's going on with you?" And I was like, "I don't know where Sean is, and I haven't seen him." I haven't seen him in a few hours. Like, we had lunch together that day, and we were supposed to go to dinner, and he didn't, come home, and I'm kind of worried. He could be at the gym or like whatever. I was like, I'm trying not to freak out, but like, I'm a little worried at this moment or whatever. And so she's like, okay, well, like, let's just like wait like an hour and like see like or whatever. And so we waited an hour and I called her and I was like, I just don't like, I don't know. I'm trying not to freak out, but like I'm kind of freaking out. And so she's like, okay, I'm gonna come over and then we're gonna go to the police station, because like it just was not like Sean to like not show up, you know. That man loved some food, so I was like, something is wrong. Something is very wrong. And so we went to the police station, filed a missing persons thing, and they actually let us go ahead and file it. I for whatever reason, I was thinking they wouldn't let you for like 24 hours. Like that's what I had heard, but that's not true. It's, you can do it, you know. But
that's good to know.
That's very good to know. But yeah, so it was a week of not knowing. I didn't know where my very best friend was for a whole week. And I can't tell you like how much of a nightmare that was. Like, I mean, we were attached at the hip. Like he was my best friend. Like we were, like if we weren't together, we were like on the phone. You know what I mean? Like we just loved each other, you know? And like, so it was just absolute hell. And then I get the call a week later, that he's gone, and they had found his body. The killer, not only did he robbed and killed him, but he took his body and he put Sean in an abandoned home's shed, and so we didn't know, you know, he was missing. We didn't know, and it was just like a week of just, you know. And then people would be like, "Oh, he's fine. Like he's gonna come up." Do you think that he maybe got cold feet before the wedding? Do you think that like do you think he's having an affair on you? Like there was like so many things that like people were like, people, and that's another thing that we'll get to, I'm sure, is, you know, just what people say and stuff, and like, yeah, we loved each other, and like he just was so cool. Like he was just like so smooth, and like when he'd like make jokes and stuff, it would just be like, you know, well, whatever, and like you just, and then I don't know, like he was just so like sly and smooth and like cool. Like he was like so cool. I was like, oh my god, he wants to marry me? What? But I don't know. But it's been almost a year since I've seen him, and my whole world is so different. Like it's like complete polar opposite of like what it was a year ago. Like today, even like I have a new job. I live in a different house. I don't know. It's just like I have a new car. Like I've like, you know, everything's just different now. And like, it's just so wild how like one person can like ripple affect your whole life. And like, yeah. So.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you know, because grief is one of those awkward things, and your loss is so different than what a lot of people experience as it is, but people don't know how to go about it.
Oh my gosh. And I empathize with that, you know, like I know that it's hard to talk to me about, you know, like I get that, like, you know, some people don't talk to me at all about it. Like we don't talk about it at all because I think it makes them uncomfortable. It doesn't really make me uncomfortable. I will talk about it because that's just kind of the person that I am. I'm obviously a very open book kind of person, and I want to share my grief with people. Like I want them to, because the thing is that literally every single person has dealt with grief or will deal with grief, and like it is crucial to talk about it because it's the human. It's the human experience, and like
it's inevitable.
You know, oh my god! And you will lose someone that you love, and how you can prepare for that, and like how you can, you know, whatever. It's just a lot. So
Yeah. Well, even in mental health training, they don't really teach us how to work with someone who is dealing with grief and loss. And like, it's a specialty within the counseling community, which is insane to me because it's not a specific diagnosis. It's not a specialty. It's something that like you said, everyone is going to experience.
Yeah. So why isn't that more like,
yeah.
I don't, yeah. So it's, I don't know. So I guess that's like, why I want to, be more open about it. And, one of my favorite authors, Nora McInerney, she wrote, The Hot Young Widows Club.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It just hit the nail on the head for me. And like, it just made me, it was very inspirational to me because it made me feel like more comfortable talking about it. And, but I mean, I definitely talk about it. I mean, for sure. Like when it comes up, I'm not like, hi, I'm Casey. My fiance died last year. It's not like, it's not that, but it is a huge part of who I am now. And so eventually, if you know me for a minute or the subject comes up, like it'll come out, and it's it is completely and utterly like helping to like mold me into this like new person that I'm becoming. And,
yeah. And you shared a TED Talk a little while ago about like the difference between moving forward and moving on.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, because, that's another like thing that's hard is, not only are you like dealing with, the loss of someone so significant in your life, but then you do have to, deal with, what people say. And again, I totally, like, I'm not like ragging on like anyone at all. Like, please don't get me wrong, but like, like there's like some things that it's just like, oh, okay, like great if you didn't say that. Like it just kind of like jabs you a little bit. And then no, it's never like intentional, but like it sucks, and but
yeah. So
but moving forward, but like as far as like I'm never gonna like move on from this, and it's just a part of who Casey is now. And I was like small talking with this like random like older woman, like she's in her 80s, and I don't know how we got on the subject, but she told me before I even told her. She was like, yeah, I lost my fiance when I was in my 20and I was like, what? I was like, come sit down with me, like we have to talk. And
yeah.
And so I told her my story, and she told me hers, and so it's just like, okay, so like you're like 82, or she's like 82 or 83 or something like that. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, so how's it going for you now when you're in your 80s? Like, she's like, well, I mean, it is still very hard. I mean, and I don't think that it'll ever go away, but I do think that parts of it will get better. And, man, like I've been saying this whole time, like Sean really loved me, and like he really wanted me to, live my life and do things that make me happy. And so, after he died, I've been really, really working like on myself and like trying to, do things that, I've always wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to sing in a band, and just like for an example, and, I'm doing that. I had my first show today right before I came. So I know. Awesome. So yeah, so crazy.
Just facing all those fears today.
I know. I'm like, really knock it all out one weekend. I'm off, Yeah. But I've got like the butterflies going. I've had it all day since I woke up today, because I was gonna have a show, and we're gonna play several songs and in front of other people, and I've been doing it, but not really like in front of a crowd, and so it was like interesting. And then I came here and talking about this. So
yeah. So let's backtrack a little bit. What are some of those things that people would say that weren't very helpful?
You'll find a new husband again.
Oh, what?
Mm-hmm. You're so young. You're going to get a new husband. And I was like,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Did they think that he had just run off? Or was this after you knew that he had passed away?
Both.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you don't understand like how I was just like, I want to punch you in the face.
Oh, I
like
bet.
I just right in the middle of the eye, or between your eyes. Yeah. You know, and it's just they're trying to be like, oh, it'll be better, like, you know, and I'm like, it's not that. It was just like, I didn't just lose my husband, you know what I mean? Like, I lost the most important person in my life. I mean, he was my, like, 100% like my best friend, and we just, I mean, of course I was excited to marry him and stuff, but like, he just was, he was me, you know, like we were one thing, and it was great, and we just vibed together so well. And I'm trying to think of something else that, you know, people have said to me.
Well, you mentioned that people would talk about how, oh, maybe he just got cold feet, maybe he just ran away.
Yeah, and that was, of course, before we found out or whatever. But I was just like, maybe I just wanted to be like, maybe you shouldn't open your mouth and say that, because like you didn't know us like at all. So like,
Yeah.
so.
Right.
And that's what it is like, you know, then if you knew us really well, like no one like close to me has like said anything like terrible,
good, yeah.
but like, you know, it was just like random people like on Facebook, like I haven't talked to since high school, and I'm like, bro, can you quit? Like, can you stop? Yeah. But I mean, it was people are just trying to be helpful, you know. People are just they just want to see quick relief, like they just want to see you quickly be like, you're right, oh my god.
Well, because if you're okay, then I can stop worrying about it.
Yes,
I can be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And but we can't just sit here and be sad, God forbid.
Right,
like,
yeah, no. That
you know?
makes me uncomfortable. You need to get over it.
Yeah, so I'm going to say literally anything that comes first to mind, just to like make you shut up.
Yeah.
So
okay, but so you didn't punch anyone in the face. So
I didn't.
how did you handle all of that?
It took a lot of grace. A lot. I don't know. I mean, I would say just number one is just like grace and empathy. Just like, people just don't know, and like they don't need, you know, those people that, you know, would say things like that, they didn't know us very well. So like, I can't, you know, be 100% mad at that. You know, people are people, and humans are stupid. So there's that. But it was, so I'd like to talk about like what it did to me physically, as well as emotionally.
You've mentioned bathtubs a few times.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of bathtubs in this story, guys. You're like, what? No. After he died, I took 2 months off of work because I like physically couldn't like hardly even stand for even like a few minutes, because I just wasn't taking care of myself. Like, the part of my body that was like, you need to eat, you need to take a shower, you need to just plain straight up take care of yourself. That part of my body just like shut off. Like, how I just could not, how could I, you know, like I didn't feel hungry. My stomach didn't rumble. Like it was so weird. And, because of that, I lost 30 pounds in almost 2 months. So not even 2 months, I lost 30 pounds. I didn't know that was humanly possible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
But it is. It is very when you're like severely depressed and you're like hardly like, I mean, what I lived off of was applesauce, chicken broth, and Jell-O. I haven't thought about it in a while. Just like very like soft food. Like there was something about chewing food that like totally grossed me out while I was like grieving. It was so weird. And so, yeah, so that's physically. Now emotionally, I never cried so much in my whole life. I never had, you know, I don't know if you've experienced this. When you cry so much, like you feel like it's like raw underneath, like almost like when you get like chapped lips or something, but like it was all underneath my eyes was just like raw and tender, and because I would just constantly cry. And I spent a lot of time in the bathtub. I don't know why, but like whenever I would feel like, that's just my thing. Like whenever I feel sick or like, you know, whatever it is, I'm not feeling good or whatever, I go take a bath. That's my thing. And I spent a lot. I was like big old raisin. Because like that was like the only place that I just felt like I could just like soak and like be. And I was, it was my place. Like I could be like alone and like, because there was people around all the time, which is really good because I needed that. But there was like people, and I'm so grateful for that. Like, oh my God, I have an amazing support system. Like my sisters and my dad and my mom and like so many of my friends, like, oh my God, my friends. I mean, my, because I wasn't eating, obviously people noticed. They were like, they were like, girl, you need to go get in the bathtub. Like right now, like one of my very best friends, she, I guess I was smelling pretty bad. Mm-hmm. And she was like, Casey, I love you, but like, you stinky, dude. Like, you reek. Like, I made you a bath. Like, go get in the bathtub. Like, because I know, like, I spent a lot of time in the bathtub, and you'd think I wouldn't smell bad, but like, I didn't wash my hair. I literally just went in there and like sat down, like, just so I could like shut the door and like be alone and like sing and like just cry, like bellow out cries, just, and just like talking to God and just, dealing with it in my own weird little unique way. But yeah, I mean, my friends, I mean, there was points where I would stand up and then I'd fall down because I just couldn't do life, and it was pretty bad for a little while. And I don't know, it's just something crazy about how your body just wants to survive, and it just really persevered through all of that. And eventually I was back at work. And I'm so gracious that it wasn't my current job, but my old job, they let me have all that time off. So I was very grateful for that. But a lot of people don't get that, a lot of people don't get to have 2 months off work. And I thankfully had, a little bit in savings. Like I had, a couple $1,000s in savings, which isn't a lot, but it kind of coasted me until I needed to go back to work. So I went back to work, and it was just like everyone else acted like nothing ever happened. And it was just like, like after, a couple weeks go by, then it's just like, okay, cool, let's do this, and it's just like, but like,
yeah,
I'm still like, like I'd go in the bathroom and cry, like, at work, and just like, what is my life? Like, are you like kidding me? Like, this should not be my life. That's just, I'm sure everyone feels that way. I'm like, but I'm just like, dang it, like I just, I've tried so hard all my life to just, be a good person and just be a happy person. And I am like a really happy person.
You're one of the most positive people I know.
Oh, thanks.
All the stuff you've been through, you're still like super positive.
Thanks.
Always looking out for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is, I mean, here's the thing. You've got two options. It's, I mean,
Yeah.
People try to make it complicated, but, and it, it is a little bit, but, when it comes down to it, I mean, you've got two options, and, I can cry, and I can also still be a happy person. And I think people forget that sometimes. It's like, so it's good to cry. I do it sometimes still. I don't do it as much. I don't cry as much, but I definitely put out some tears sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I'm sure with it, the anniversary coming up.
Yeah, the anniversary is going to be hard. So I'm thinking about, so right before he died last year was Thanksgiving. And this is just kind of gives you the kind of person that Sean was. We got done eating, like, it was probably like our third Thanksgiving dinner of that day. Like, it was just stupid. Like, and at this point, like, I'm like dozing off, like I'm like in the recliner, like laid back, like, let's get this nap.
Food coma.
And, you know, we laid there for a little bit, and then he was like, hey, let's go downtown. And I was like, for what? Like, this sounds real good right now. Like, let's just hang out and chill, and then maybe we can go eat some more in a little bit. And he's like, no, like, get up, like, we're gonna go. So I was like, okay, whatever. So we go to McDonald's, and we spend like we get like, I don't even know how many hamburgers, like probably like, I think we got like 20 or 30 hamburgers. Like, it was just like a stupid amount of hamburgers. And we go downtown and we give them to people. And because he just couldn't stand the thought of someone not having like at least something. I mean, it was just McDonald's, you know, like we didn't have a ton of money, or, you know, we were just like, whatever, let's just do something. And people were just so stoked about it. And he just made me want to be a better person. And I think we both did. And I think that that's why we had such a really great system of our relationship, because we just constantly were just challenging each other with growth and that kind of thing. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
All right. So what are you going to do this year?
Well, 2020 is around the corner. I'm hoping to just get involved with, you know, music more and just self-care in general. I've been really trying to, you know, just take care of myself, you know, and because for so long I had like a person helping, you know, taking care of myself, and that's fine and dandy. That's cool too. Like, but, I don't know. I've just been, I don't know. I think I just want to like dive in with like music and like my career, and, just, you know, make him proud, make myself proud, but, you know, make him proud too. And like, you know, people were like, Casey, you're doing so good. Like, I had someone like, this person had been like, they're a new friend, but they're, you know, been my friend for, you know, a minute. And, I guess that person didn't know that it happened to me. Like, I guess like the subject like never came up. I don't know why, but, and then I just like brought it up casually, like talking to someone else, and they're like, wait, what did you say happened to you? I was like,
wow.
yeah. I was like, yeah, this happened to me about a year ago. And, they were like, whoa, like I would have never thought, like, by, you know, just because of, you know, how you take it, I guess. But like, I don't know, like, again, going back to that, like you've got two options, and I just really choose to try to be, you know, make some light out of it, make Sean proud. And I think, but going back to the Thanksgiving, I think with the anniversary coming up, he died right after Thanksgiving. I think I want to go downtown and feed people again, and could be organizing something. So either that, I'm going to run away to the beach. I haven't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably what I'm going to end up doing. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, you have stayed crazy positive through this whole last
I know.
year.
It's like, it's a little, it's like a little, like, you're like,
Are you human?
are you actually like, okay? And I'm not okay. Like, I swear to God, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
But like,
But you're right. You have two choices. You can sit in it and, you know, have had this whole last year where you really didn't do anything and were just sad.
yeah, and I do sit in it sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, believe me, there are some days where I'm like, I gotta sit in it. I gotta,
Get in the bathtub.
and yep, it's time to go. And I'm like, all right, self. I'm like, go get in that tub, girl. But no, but you know, I do sit in it. It's not like I'm like avoiding it, like at all. Like I definitely deal with it. Probably not as, I probably don't wallow as much as I should. I feel like, 'cause there's a level of wallow that you at least I feel that way. For me, like I'm like,
I was gonna say, what do you mean?
I gotta soak this in today or whatever, you know, I gotta, but ultimately, I mean, really when it comes down to it, like I really just try to I try to stay busy.
Yeah.
I try to stay busy, and I try to challenge myself, and, you know, but I got a new job. I'm doing like the same thing, but just different company, and it's a little promotion. I'm excited about it, and I've been growing, man. I really have been, and I mean, there's areas of my life that obviously need more growth. I mean, that's anybody, but I need more growth for sure. But I've lots of therapy and singing and hardly ever, being home. A lot of, going out and being with friends and like laughter. Oh my gosh, memes. Let me tell you guys about memes. Memes and my friends like saved my life. Like laughter is 100% the best medicine. Like if you know what, this is what you guys should do. Like if I'm feeling sad, like just send me a meme. Okay. Send me a meme and like some love-ins, and that's all you really got to do. That's how we cure this problem.
Yeah. Laughter for sure.
Yeah. So there's, laughter's wonderful.
Well, and that kind of sets me up for the next question. What do you wish people understood about it? About what it's like to go through the process of grief and loss?
That you yourself will experience it. Probably, most likely not in the most horrific way that I have. I swear to God, I hope no one ever goes through what I go through, but people do. And, especially, here in Memphis, I mean, people are murdered all the time, like, I want your money and I'm going to take your stuff and kill you for it. There's just no sort of like grasp for, and it's just crazy because like, that's another thing that like I'm learning and I'm working on too is, that I want to get involved with is, I'm starting in this new program. It's called JIF. It's like a juvenile intervention type thing. And essentially like what it is like, like these kids, they're messing up. They're doing things that they shouldn't do, and so, they have to go through this like program, and, me and some other people are like their mentors, and, like, hey, you are a loved person. Like you don't have to like, join a gang or like, you don't have to do XYZ to, well, I don't know. So it's just a very like positive thing, and like, keeps the kids like off the street or whatever. They come in and we do like fun stuff with them. Like, we take them places and like, it's cool, and, help them with their homework, just really like encourage them. And because, a lot of these kids like don't have that, like they don't have someone that can be like, hey, you can do it, man. Like, actually you rock at that. Like you're really good at that. And just like really like encouraging like their like strong points and like helping them work on like their weaker points. And that's what it's about. So,
well, we went to an inner city school, and that they were very not encouraging and always pointing out all the ways that we were going to mess up or the ways that we were terrible. It was not a very loving, fostering environment.
The education system definitely could use some improvement. And here's the thing is like, after he died, like I just was like, I hate Memphis. Like I want to get out of here. Like Memphis is like, I've lived here my whole life, and I didn't, there was like a lot of things that had happened to me, and I was mad, angry, and just like, I just found myself complaining a lot. But then I just like actually like sat and like listened to myself talk one night, and I was just like, oh my God, like that's not very Casey of me. So like, that's weird, Yeah. So I, decided to do something about it, or at least try, and how can you sit there and complain about it and then not do anything? That sounds, that doesn't make any sense to me. So, but yeah, I'm about to fully dive in with that process, and it's a little scary. I will say with that in particular, just because like I'm like, oh, like I just really want to help somebody, and like, what if I don't help somebody? Like, what if I don't? But then, also like not doing anything also doesn't help anybody. So it's like, yeah,
true.
If I can make like one kid laugh, then I'm like, that's cool, that's good enough. So, but
yeah. So, what do you think has been the most helpful for you going through all this stuff? To help you deal with it.
I mean, I like therapy. Therapy's cool.
He's awesome. You have the right therapist. Yeah.
yeah, definitely like finding the right therapist for sure. And, but also, I mean, I would just say like staying busy, just, you know, and like I've said, it's good to like, you know, sit down and just like really dive into your, like your feelings and stuff. But it's also like healthy, I think, to like go out and like try new things and like, you know, challenge yourself. And you know, that kind of helps to like, to where you're not just like solely focusing on that like awful part of your life. Like you're like, there's so many other beautiful things about life. And like, and that's where I'm at right now. It's just like discovering those other like really wonderful, beautiful things about life. And so, I can go on and I can live my life and, make myself proud. But also I know he's like looking up there at me, like, you know, I talk to him sometimes. It's probably crazy, I guess, but I talk to him sometimes, and I'm like, oh, like, like, just wish you were here. Like, this happened or whatever. But I can like hear his voice sometimes, like, not like out, like it kind of makes me sound like it's not like, but in my head, like I'll like say something sometimes, and like I can just like hear his like little like smart ass response or whatever, you know. And, you know, we laughed all the time. And that's another, like, we made each other better people, but man, we laughed a lot. And, that's something that I really loved about, you know, us or whatever. But, I guess as of today, what is it, November 10th, 2019, who Casey is at this moment. She is a very broken person, but a very happy broken person. I'm sad. I am, but I am. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, I'm still myself. And like fighting for who you are as a person, or while you're dealing with this grief, is just like this constant battle. You're like. Because it just wants to like weigh you down and like just hold you and keep you there, and you're just like having to just like and you just go like, I just like feel really heavy today, but you just have to do it because it's your life. And we do only have one of them, and yeah, so Casey's just trying to I'm talking about myself in third person. I am just, you know, trying to be an even better person and grow, lots of growth, and explore life a little bit. So
yeah, well, with therapy, you know, we tell people, especially dealing with depression, you know, focus on the positive, focus on the things you can do, you can control. Yeah, and just sometimes you just gotta, you know, push through the weight and make yourself do it. But it's so hard.
Oh my gosh. And like it was hard at first because like I was very weak in that subject. I mean, the only people that I had really lost were my grandparents, you know. I hadn't really like lost anyone, like I mean, Sean and I like lived together, like, you know, we spent all the time together. Like I said earlier, like if we weren't together, we were on the phone, like so
well, losing someone from like being elderly is
it's awful too. Yeah, I mean that's awful too. Oh my gosh. But like, and then, but like this is different because like it was so unexpected and like so like, I mean we were about to go get married, you know, like I mean I had a ring, like it was legit, like we were looking at venues, like, and you know, and it was hard for me too because being married was like such a big thing that I had always wanted for my life, and that part of my life is like slowly kind of like adjusting, like I'm like, you know what, it's okay, like if I actually don't ever get married, like it's fine. I mean, maybe I will, that's great, that's cool for future me, but
yeah
but if I don't, that's fine too, you know. And just like kind of, I think I got this wave tattoo I don't know, like 2-3 months ago, something like that. And I got it for a few different reasons, but one reason is just me and Sean spent a lot of time at the beach together. Like we loved, that was like our happy place, and we got engaged at the beach, and, you know, just, but I also, I think that everything in life happens in waves. I think that, you know, happiness comes in waves, and I think sadness comes in waves, and love and heartbreak, and, you know, it's just like just constantly, and you just have to like hold on and just like ride it out, you know, and it'll smooth out eventually. It just, you know, you just kind of have to, life is just like this, it's a battle. You got to put on your armor every day, and you got to go, and you have to fight it, and, you know, you have to fight for your life and fight for, you know, what makes you happy. And so yeah,
absolutely. Be intentional in your choices and what you're doing, and yeah, sometimes you sit down and rest, and sometimes you fight a little harder. Yeah,
definitely get that rest in. Me and naps, we go way back. Yeah. So, but
yeah, okay.
Grief.
It's fun.
God, it's. Yeah. I never thought that like this would be me. You know, like I mean, no, I'm sure no one ever does, but it just like, whoa, you know, like when I like envisioned my life when I was like in high school, even like her and I, we actually met in high school, but I mean, I don't know. I just didn't expect that for my life. And life throws those curveballs at you. It's like whoever's like writing my life has like the juiciest story of the whole world. Like,
well, it's kind of like whoever's writing the story of your life is like, all right, she's still positive. What else can we throw?
I know. I'm like, can it just, you know, maybe I should just start like wallowing more and like it'll stop. But no, I just, you know, I'm a godly woman. Like you know, I try to, you know, I mean, it definitely tested my faith. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, grief can do that. So
it definitely tested my faith. Like I was really mad. I was really angry with God, and I just didn't. I remember just like lying on my like carpeted floor, like just being like. Just cursing God and just like being just straight up and just raw and honest and just like, and I think that that's like, you know, what he like for me, like I think that that's like that's our relationship. Like God is very much like my friend, and I talk to him as that. Like I talk to him very much like, I don't know. I mean, and people who have like, you know, relationships with God, like everyone has like different relationship with God, you know, but me personally, I'm just like, yo, man, that was screwed up.
Do not appreciate.
Yeah. You know, and, but, I've learned them too that I'm not God. And like, I'm not like, I'm here and I'm just, you know, I'm just a little like soldier, like going to war. And, so.
Did you ever feel like guilty for that, for being angry with him?
Yeah, and there's parts of me that like feel like guilty for being happy sometimes. I don't know if that makes sense, but like especially like right after he died, I felt like when I would laugh, I would like instantly, I'd be like ha 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 ha, and then like because like it would just instantly feel like that little like grief devil in your head is like, how could you laugh right now? It's so crazy, like it's so weird. Brains are.
Get there. Something else.
So, but and that's, you know, you're just like fighting that little like demon in your head that's like, you know, don't do anything at all this week. Lay in your bed and don't shave your legs. You know, it's like, okay. And I don't shave my legs as much as I should, but it's a process. I'm doing it more than.
Well, it's wintertime. You don't.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
We get a free pass.
It's funny because like I'm doing it more in the wintertime than I did in the summertime, but I don't know. It's a growth, man. It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
So, but anyhow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, any final words, final advice for anyone who finds himself in a position of grief and loss, or when they do?
Just, you know, it's going to be it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. Like, don't ever like expect it to be like, a breeze. And, you just have to, like I said, put on that armor and like you be a boss and like, throw on some jeans, put your hair in a ponytail and like rock it out. Like go at it and like do it, because like, you've got two choices. Like you make the choice to like go out and like try. And, but if, you want to sit at home and like not try some days, fine. Like that's so okay. That is so 100% okay. Like, I know I'm like super like positive, like go get him, Tiger, like well, or whatever. But like, I mean, there's days where like I just want to like sit at home, So like there's like the thing is like there's got to be like this balance of like finding out like, is the trend I'm going helping me grow, or is the trend I'm kind of going like, as long as like average, or you're trying to move, go and like move forward with your life. And then I would say then you're trying to do something good. Like go and do something that like is wild and like freaks you out a little bit, and like try to just do something like that. And definitely do more of what makes you happy. Like if you like to paint, then sign up for a painting class, or like if you want to whatever, I mean, just
Skydive,
go. Skydive would be great. I would love to do that too. There's so many things that I want to do too, and I think that once you have achieved that, then make something else, and then because life will hit you again. Life will hit me again, and it's scary, and but let's ride it out,
Yeah.
So,
That armor. Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I guess that's really it. I'm sure I've missed something, but
Well, I think it's a good point. Find the balance between getting out there and doing what you need to do and living life, and also letting yourself feel those feelings, and just
because you don't want to like totally not
okay.
be. Because please don't get me wrong. Like with the being like super positive, like please allow yourself to like feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not normal not to. So allow yourself to feel it, and then when it makes you sick, like when it makes you like physically sick, you're not taking care of yourself. You better get your ass up and do something about it, because like it will slowly swallow you, or quickly swallow you rather. So you've got to, be like, okay, gonna do this today. Like I've sat down long enough. Like I've got to, pick myself up and, go make yourself happy, because ultimately you're the 100% the only person that can do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned a book at the beginning of this.
Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Oh, highly recommend. It's called The Hot Young Widows Club by Nora McInerney. It's not just for widows. It's great because it goes over like Nora McInerney, she lost her husband, she had a miscarriage, and her dad all within like 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. So I actually met her the other day, and I like fangirled like super hard. The picture, I'm like, oh, and it was really embarrassing. But I just like when we met, I was like, oh my gosh, my husband died too, and like we just like vibed. It was great. So, but I mean, she has like a nice little positive spin on things, and like she's throw some humor in there, and it's just a wonderful read about how to deal with if you did lose your husband, then great, then it relates to you. If you lost like a parent or a baby or anything like that, like it pinpoints on those like major deaths, and also but it does that, but it also helps for people who are not that person, helping the person who is grieving. It helps the person who is grieving too. So it's not just for those who have only purely been the victim of it, I guess, for lack of a better word. But
any other books or resources that you think are helpful?
I like all of her books, but that was like my particular, like my favorite one. But I don't know, I don't know. As far as like books and stuff go, I do read some, but I definitely read more than I used to, just because it's just like, please, anything, what can help me? Yeah. So, and you know, it helps you kind of see like a different point of view. So that's wonderful. So, you know, definitely like go out and read. But just like talking to people too, like talking to that older lady that I was talking to the other day, like it was wonderful for me because like it just was like, okay, like it's okay. Like if I'm 80 years old and I'm like super sad about it, because I think like we try to like cover it up, like, oh, we don't want to talk about that. You know, like let's talk about it, you know, like let's and address it so we can move forward with it. Take those things that have hurt us and knocked us to the ground, and then take those things that have helped pick us back up, and then move forward as your new like person, as your new self. And that's who I am now. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like such a different person. Like, I'm still like me, but like there's so much of my life that's changed, and that is totally normal for, you know, anyone who is grieving, and your life, it'll rock your world. Yeah. But again, taking that and then just running with the things that you've learned to help, you know, you grow.
For sure.
Goodness.
Well, okay, well, let's just talk about this for a second, because our weather was like literally, it was like 20 degrees last night, and it's like 70 degrees outside. My show was great. Tomorrow. Are you kidding, or?
No, we're calling for snow tomorrow.
What? See? I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but it was beautiful. The weather was great for our little show today. Oh my God, yeah, we were outside. We were on a patio. It was that nice. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
But you were sweating it yesterday. Putting on the hard layers.
I know. I'm like, oh God. No, the show went really good. I only messed up a few times. And just JK has messed up so many times. But no, and again, it's a growing thing. So, you know, it's my very first show, but I'm excited to see, like, you know, if it'll become something. If not, then it's cool. I mean, it's just fun. Yeah. It's something to do, and
yeah, kind of like this thing. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah.
See where it goes.
So,
yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on and talking about it.
Thank you for having me. It was cool, and I'm excited to. Hopefully, the goal is to, you know, just talk about it and hope that it helps someone else. And yeah, so thank you guys for listening to me. If you're still listening, like, I ramble. I'm so sorry, but it means so much. So thank you. It means so much for having me, and thank you for everyone who's still listening. So
thanks for coming. All right, we'll be back again for some more.